1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Indrani Senanayake. The headlines. The President is scheduled to address the 7th Indian Ocean Conference in Perth. West Australian Premier discusses renewable energy and agricultural development with President Wickremesinghe. New ASVASMA applications to be called from tomorrow. The government has prepared a special program to purchase paddy directly from farmers from the Maha-season crop. The Prime Minister said that the President has clearly presented the measures to be taken regarding the economic crisis faced by the country. Over 60 Sri Lankans who lost their jobs in Jordan returned to the island. In foreign news, Putin tells Tucker Carlson deal can be reached to free jailed US reporter Ivan Gershkovich. President Ranil Wickremesinghe is scheduled to address the 7th Indian Ocean Conference under the theme, A Stable and Sustainable Indian Ocean in Perth, Australia. It will be held today and tomorrow. He arrived at the Perth International Airport last afternoon to attend the 7th Indian Ocean Conference in Perth, Australia. At the invitation of the India Foundation and the Australian government, President Ranil Wickremesinghe is currently engaged in an official visit to Australia to attend the 7th Indian Ocean Conference. President Ranil Wickremesinghe is slated to deliver the keynote address at the conference today, focusing on the theme, Towards a Stable and Sustainable Indian Ocean. Furthermore, Premier Roger Cook of Western Australia met with President Ranil Wickremesinghe today as part of the President's official itinerary in Perth for the Indian Ocean Conference. During the discussions, the Premier conveyed his state's keen interest in renewable energy and agricultural development, along with establishing direct aviation connections between Sri Lanka and Perth. He emphasized Perth's strategic location on the Indian Ocean as an opportunity for South Asian nations to foster closer ties with the broader Australian region. President Wickremesinghe highlighted Sri Lanka's ongoing efforts to develop its renewable energy sector while underscoring the country's vast potential in the area. Additionally, the President outlined Sri Lanka's modernization program in agriculture and extended an invitation to the Western Australian Premier to promote investment in this sector. Calling for new applications for the ASVASMA Welfare Benefits Program, which is scheduled to commence tomorrow to select 400,000 more beneficiaries. The Finance State Ministry said certain criteria for the selection of beneficiaries would be revised based on the suggestions made by various parties. Meanwhile, the monthly allowances paid to disabled persons, kidney patients and elderly citizens are to be retrospectively increased from January 2024. Accordingly, kidney patients and disabled persons' allowances will be raised from 5,000 rupees to 7,500 rupees, while the elderly citizens' allowance will be increased from 2,000 rupees to 3,000 rupees. The government has prepared a special program to purchase paddy directly from farmers from the Maha-season crop. Bank facilities from the government and private banks will also be provided to them to purchase paddy. A minimum price in this regard has been reached. Accordingly, the minimum price for a kilogram of nadu is 105 rupees, samba 120 rupees and kiri samba is priced at 130 rupees. A 5 million rupee loan will be provided to small and medium-scale paddy mill owners. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
A comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you.
We continue with local news. The debate on the policy statement presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe was held for the second day today. Commencing the debate, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the President has clearly presented the measures to be taken regarding the economic crisis faced by the country. The inflation, which was at 50.6% has been reduced to 6.4% in the face of the economic collapse. Parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva said that the objective is to create an economy that confirms the personal freedom and independence of the people. A group of 66 Sri Lankans in Jordan who were afflicted after the two apparel factories they were employed at were shut down have returned to the island. It was reported that the Indian investors who operated the two factories in Jordan, namely Asil and High Apparel, had closed the facilities with no prior notice to the employees. That ends the local segment of news.
Elevate your life with People's Bank Excelsior. A comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawarddena says that only those who change the agreements laid down by the IMF can maintain a government for a 2-week period. Problems can arise if the foreign debt is not paid on time. 3 trillion rupees has been received to the Treasury by implementing the present VAT system. He made these remarks while participating in the Subharati program of the SLBC this morning, and that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
We take a look at Watchlight. The water supply for parts of Colombo will be suspended from tomorrow for a period of 15 hours. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board, NWSDB, says the water cut will be in place from 5 p.m. tomorrow until 8 a.m. on Sunday. According to the NWSDB, Colombo 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 areas are supposed to be affected by the water cut, which is being imposed due to essential maintenance work planned under the Ambatale Water Supply System Improvements and Energy Saving Project. That was Watchlight. Coming up, World News. First to the headlines. Putin tells Tucker Carlson deal can be reached to free jailed U.S. reporter Ivan Gershkovich. 5 things found in Biden classified documents report. Cocoa prices hit record high as El Nino hurts crops. President Vladimir Putin has said he believes a deal can be reached to free Ivan Gershkovich, a U.S. reporter detained last year in Russia. Speaking with U.S. host Tucker Carlson, Mr. Putin said talks were ongoing with the U.S. about the journalist who is being held on espionage charges. In an interview, Mr. Putin held forth on Ukraine, U.S. presidents and the CIA. It's the first time the Russian leader has sat down with a Western journalist since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. A report from Special Counsel Robert Hur has raised serious questions about Joe Biden's memory, provoking a strong reaction from the U.S. president. Declining to prosecute Mr. Biden for retaining troves of classified documents, Mr. Hur, who served in the Trump administration, said the 81-year-old would likely present himself as trial as sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly with a poor memory. Elsewhere, the report challenged Mr. Biden for retaining reams of classified information and for storing it improperly and insecurely. Global cocoa prices have hit a fresh record high as dry weather hurts crops in West Africa. Cocoa prices on the New York commodities market reached a new all-time high of $5,874 a ton yesterday. The cost of the key ingredient for making chocolate has now roughly doubled since the start of last year. Soaring cocoa prices are already filtering through to consumers and squeezing major chocolate makers. On Thursday, one of the world's biggest chocolate manufacturer, Hershey, warned historic cocoa prices are expected to limit earnings growth this year. To end this bulletin of world news, we take a look at the headlines again. Putin tells Tucker Carlson deal can be reached to free jailed U.S. reporter Ivan Gershkovich. 5 things found in the Biden classified documents report. Cocoa prices hit record high as El Nino hurts crops. That ends this bulletin of world news. We take a look at development news. A solar power project will be implemented in the Siamalandua area, generating a capacity of 100 megawatts of power. More than $130 million has been invested in this project, and that was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
The first match of the 3 ODIs with visiting Afghanistan team and the Sri Lanka team will be played at the Pallekele International Stadium at 2:30 p.m. today. It is a day and night match. 12 matches have been played with the two nations earlier. Of these, Sri Lanka has won 7 matches played against Afghanistan, and that came to you in sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Animal husbandry farm and agricultural animals will be registered under the Department of Animal Husbandry Products and the Department of Health. It will be implemented until the 31st of March. That was business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
We take a look at economic news. Treasury bonds valued at 55 billion rupees will be issued. The auction will be conducted on Wednesday. The central bank says that the interest rate is 11.25 and 11.50%. These bonds will expire on the 15th of December 2026 and 2028. And finally, we take a look at the weather report.
Weather report.
Mainly fair weather will prevail over the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamuwa and western provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts during the morning hours. To end this afternoon's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. The President is scheduled to address the 7th Indian Ocean Conference in Perth. Western Australia Premier discusses renewable energy and agricultural development with President Wickremesinghe. New Aswasumo applications will be called from tomorrow. The government has prepared a special program to purchase paddy directly from farmers from the Maha season crop. The Prime Minister said that the President has clearly presented the measures to be taken regarding the economic crisis faced by the country. Over 60 Sri Lankans who lost their jobs in Jordan returned to the island. World News Putin tells Tucker Carlson deal can be reached to free jailed US reporter Ivan Gershkovich. That ends this afternoon's news broadcast. 29 minutes past 1 o'clock. This is Radio Sri Lanka. And of course, onto the smiley lady in red today also. Okay, she's in polka dots. Geetanjali, saying a very big hello to you and wishing you all the very, very best indeed for the afternoon,
nice to see
the rest of it, and for the weekend to follow, and to every single one of you tuned in. Well, for those of you who are going to sit down to have your lunch, it's going to be a pleasure because Geetanjali has selected a super selection of music while you sit down to eat. So here it is, and she'll be with you until 4 o'clock this afternoon. So enjoy every second of the afternoon. Over to you, Geetanjali.